So yesterday we bought this car. Today I'm broke down on the side of the road.
Well, I was just rolling up my window, but now I don't know. What the f***?
So today we're going to be taking a look at modern cars and the complete lack of quality and reliability that we all see today. The amount of examples that I see across all social media platforms of people's cars shutting down, catastrophic engine failures within a year of owning it, a few weeks, even right down the road where they drove the car off the lot is at an all-time high. Now, some manufacturers are definitely worse than others when it comes to reliability, but honestly, no brand is safe when it comes to increasing problems with tech riddled throughout all of these vehicles now. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just start off with a few examples.
Well, I was just rolling up my window, but now I don't know. What the f***? So that was my Kia that started smoking last Tuesday evening, and we got it shipped to the dealership, or towed, last Wednesday. So I've been calling them and trying to get an update for you guys. I have been, and I just got a hold of the guy today, and he says all he knows is something in the info system, does that sound right, shorted out and caused all that smoke and all those problems. They have no idea why. He did say that they ordered a whole new system to put in, so they're gonna do that, and then they have to ship mine back to the company, and they do like the diagnostics and like find out what happened and why it happened. And I also found out that they did all the recall updates and any system updates, which is nice.
So a couple things there. Interesting to know that they ended up doing all of the recall and system updates that I guess she didn't know about, just more problems with the vehicle. The other thing is that I hope this is under the manufacturer warranty, because if not, this would cost a ton of money. And even with the warranties possibly being in place, you know that these manufacturers will still try to wiggle their way out of it, make you pay out of pocket even if it is their fault. But I'm just going to hope that Kia is paying for this. They have no idea how it happened. They have to go back to the manufacturer to run diagnostics. I don't know, maybe there's just too much tech in today's cars, just a wild thought. But up next we have a little two-parter of a clip that's up on screen right now. This is some sort of vlog or trend on TikTok with the camera movements and copyrighted music over it, but this is a woman who ended up getting a brand new GMC Yukon. So we could just go right into the part 2 of this series.
So yesterday we bought this car. Today I'm broke down on the side of the road. We left it there last night to get it detailed because it was dirty, and then went back and picked it up in the morning. They made a new key for it and everything. I take off. We drive about 60 miles down the road because we're going home, which is 3.5 hours, and the car blows up. Not like blows like, you know, big dramatic blow. It cut out, started screaming, and wouldn't accelerate in the middle of the freeway with my 2 children in the car.
So basically, right off the dealer lot, this thing shuts down, and it's pretty common. We'll get to that in a second. Even one of the comments here talks about it. They aren't even supposed to be selling the 6.2 liter V8s right now. They're on a stop sale. But the next comment also has some problems. Look into a 2025 Toyota Grand Highlander. I just lemoned my 2021 Ford Expedition and wanted to buy my dream Suburban. I just don't understand why these are always the dream mom cars. But honestly, we don't want to deal with all the issues Chevy and GM have. But if you know anything about the Grand Highlander, they're having issues as well, even with it being a Toyota, more reliable, right? The Tundras, Tacomas, Grand Highlanders are all having issues and recalls as well, and I guess we're just supposed to deal with it in today's world with modern vehicles. Or really anything that we purchase now. We have a comment from one of you guys. There's no quality whatsoever anymore. I bought some expensive appliances and a treadmill and some other things lately, and they're all built to fall apart. It's disgusting. Modern technology is perfectly capable of building affordable products that can last. There are no excuses for it. Greed has ruined everything. It's a lot easier to get more customers to purchase your products if they don't last nearly as long as they used to. Maybe you bought a Yukon a while ago and it lasted 20 years. It finally ends up dying and you go purchase a brand new one. Now that one lasts 10 years. Not only the ridiculously high MSRP gives these manufacturers better margins, but now people have to buy vehicles more often than they did before, basically doubling your profits in the end. And because of that thought process, we're seeing stuff like this all the time.
If you're in the market for a newer used SUV, I would not recommend the newer GM Yukons or Tahoes. This one's got 109,000 miles. It's a 2021. We bought it with 70,000 on it. One owner, clean title, clean Carfax. The transmission went out before 10,000 miles. We bought an extended warranty through the bank. We caught hell trying to get the transmission done. Now they gave us a $3,500 budget to find a motor. Y'all find me a motor I can buy for $3,500 for a 2021 Yukon Denali 6.2 liter. Absolutely ridiculous. What a joke.
So this is one that has been making the rounds recently because it has become such a huge problem that they are now forced to recall these.
General Motors is recalling nearly 600,000 vehicles due to engine issues. The recall includes some Cadillac Escalades, along with some GMC Sierra and Yukon models. It also covers some Chevrolet Suburbans, Tahoes, and Silverado models. All the vehicles are from the 2021 to 2024 model years. All feature a 6.2-liter V8 gas engine. The issues are with the connecting rod or crankshaft engine components. Owners of affected vehicles will be notified in June.
The exact models with the problems we've seen in the past two clips. GMC Tech here, the actual numbers of the official recall is 870,000 trucks with the 6.2 from 2021 to 24. Even more than what was advertised on the news. And I know we've been mainly harping on one manufacturer, but if you want to Google this yourself, there are recalls all the time from any brand you could think of.
More bad news for Nissan, as the company is now recalling 443,899 vehicles in the United States due to potential engine failure. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, better known as the NHTSA, the issue stems from engine bearings that may have a manufacturing defect, a problem that can lead to engine failure due to metal debris circulating in the engine oil.
We could go back to the new Toyotas that are having problems. A lot of Hondas have been recalled as well. It honestly really doesn't matter what brand you're talking about now. Another comment from you guys, my uncle was a car salesman. He told me years ago not to ever buy a new car off the lot. It depreciates as soon as you drive off. Buying a new warranty is worse. You pay for a new car, a new warranty, and as soon as something happens, they find a way to not pay for major repairs. And in today's world, with the technology in the vehicles, that is going to be incredibly expensive. But let's say you still do that and you buy a brand new vehicle. This is the type of stuff you're getting.
This might be a hot take, but new cars are junk. I mean, look at the reverse camera quality on this 2025 Ford F-250. That is junk.
Am I just an idiot and I can't figure out how to get my car in neutral? I want to go through a car wash, and that's park, drive, reverse, that's the manual mode. I cannot get it in neutral to go through a rolling car wash. What am I doing wrong?
So I know that clip is a user error, but do you really have to have some sort of refresh and update to change the shifter that already worked and was very clear on how it was supposed to work, enough that now it's confusing people on how to even put it in neutral? And I mean, the first clip goes along with any of the new cars now, just terrible quality overall. It's not a hot take, it's just a fact. Not a hot take, the 2025 Escalade does not come with power sunshade. That's a six-figure luxury flagship SUV. It's absolutely ridiculous. Also, these screens are getting way out of hand and making cars harder and more dangerous to use. It also just looks tacky and cheap. So we're gonna stay on the infotainment screens for a little while. I have a few screenshots. How did Mercedes go from this, showing the carbon fiber center console even with the tablet screen, a nice fancy clock that goes along with it, to this, where they just have a digital screen with a watch on it. Another thing that you've probably seen in the news is is the Apple CarPlay Ultra that is supposed to be the next version of using your iPhone and Apple products in the car, basically turning all of these screens into your phone, into an iPad, being able to customize it more and do what you want. Now, after this was introduced, we have another screenshot here. 10 of the 14 car brands abandoned Apple CarPlay Ultra after realizing it would hijack their systems. Modern cars collect valuable data about driving habits, locations, and usage patterns that automakers can monetize. CarPlay Ultra would surrender this goldmine to Apple's ecosystem, explaining why a Renault executive told Apple, "Don't hijack our systems." So whatever you think about Apple products in the CarPlay or whatever, this is all about making more money in the manufacturer's eyes. They don't want Apple having all of your data, your driving patterns, how fast you're going, GPS to wherever you're headed, because then they could use that to either sell the data to other companies or advertise products themselves to you. But the manufacturers don't want Apple to hijack their systems. They want to be able to monetize and do the same thing and make more money off of you. Either way, I think this is a bad thing in the end, whether you agree with the new Apple CarPlay Ultra or the manufacturers. They're just using it to squeeze even more money out of you. Car brands went from having their own unique interiors, which anyone could identify its brand, as it was unique, but now they all changed to Tesla interior. All of them look almost the exact same. He's dead right, because that was one of the other arguments they were trying to say. If the Apple CarPlay Ultra was in so many different manufacturers, they would all look similar. They already look similar. What's the difference? In the end, like I said, it's all about money and trying to sell your data or use it to sell you more products in some sort of crazy advertisement. It's just unbelievable. I think software in modern cars is by far the biggest issue. Breaking an entire car because the computer inside no longer receives updates a few years later is a scary thought. Just take a look at Fisker. I think it's the Fisker Ocean was their small SUV. The whole company went underwater and it's a fully electric SUV. So good luck trying to repair it if anything goes wrong with the hardware, but I also did get recommended a video where somebody had to drive 700 or 800 miles in their Fisker just to get a software update for their vehicle. I mean, it's honestly a nightmare. And these tech problems just don't end.
If you are a victim of the Mazda ghost screen CarPlay issue where it just clicks 58 buttons, calls people, does all kinds of crazy things, then this is for you. There is an active settlement open for Mazda, and I actually got something in the mail that had more details about it, so I wanted to share on here because the only thing I found was on Reddit, and it didn't really have a lot of people who had answers of what they needed to do. But it's a known issue by Mazda. They actually met a settlement with somebody who was suing them for this because it's obviously a huge issue.
So another one of the brands that's supposedly doing a lot better right now, Mazda. Compared to the competition, the reliability is supposed to be better. The pricing of these vehicles is supposed to be very competitive as well. I still think almost everything is overpriced, but in comparison at least, it's supposed to be decent, right? But going back to their software, the infotainment, it is so bad that they actually had to settle in court from a lawsuit. But going back to what I just said about the MSRP in general, you're expected to pay an unbelievable amount of money, in my opinion, for these vehicles. We have a clip up on screen right now, a new Jeep Wrangler 2024, $1,565 a month for 84 months, with an APR of almost 18%. Just running through all this, the finance charge almost $57,000, the amount financed almost $75,000. So in the end, the total payments for, again, a 2024 Jeep Wrangler is $131,530. Oh man, $133,000 for a Jeep. Whoever signed the contract needs an intervention. This should be illegal. Someone tag the repo man. Are you out of your mind? 17.5%, that's a credit card rate. Why does a Jeep Wrangler cost $75,000 in the first place? And if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that a lot of these Stellantis vehicles also have tons of problems, especially if we're talking about modern vehicles. So we could go over to some of the repair costs and how ridiculous that's become. We just have another clip up on screen. You take your car to BMW thinking this little piece of plastic will be $50 max. And at the end of the day, it cost almost $900 because it's a BMW. Did you bring your own lube or did they just bend you over the table when you got there? I Googled the part number out of skepticism and it really is that expensive. Bro, you should have just bought a 3D printer. Wait till you take it in for an oil change change and you're spending $3,000. So let alone the crazy price to fix modern day luxury cars, adding in the shady dealership tactics to get even more money out of you. But we could go over to the next example of somebody wanting to keep up appearances and then having to deal with the ridiculous repair costs.
I live in LA. I have a Mercedes-Benz. It's a 2021. I had to take it into the dealer because the engine light came up. I had to take my car. I took it to the one in downtown LA. They told me I got a case number because I'm asking for a Goodwill repair because they want almost $2,800 to replace the injection fluid. I don't know, injections of the injectors. They didn't give me a loaner. I have to rent a car. And also, they charged me $900 for a diagnose. There was 2 diagnoses. The first one, they didn't figure out what it was. And Mercedes-Benz, one of the reasons why I choose to have your car and work hard to make sure I always feel safe is because I've never had an issue with you guys. And right now, it's too premature to be going through this and spend this amount of money. It's ridiculous.
So I could definitely see this from both ways. 2021 Mercedes, definitely a newer vehicle, most likely shouldn't be having all of these problems, especially with the amount of money you would have paid for it. But at the same time, it does come with the territory when you're talking about luxury cars, luxury SUVs. Every time something does go wrong and needs to be repaired, it is going to be significantly more than repairing a Honda or a Mazda, Toyota, something like that. But she did also say she lives in Los Angeles and the closest one was downtown LA, so you're surrounded by people who are either ultra wealthy or faking that they're ultra wealthy. So it starts to sound like more of a keeping up with the appearances, driving around in a Mercedes instead of a feeling safe. But we could go to some of the comments. As a lifelong luxury car driver, I really think maintenance and repair costs shouldn't make you cry. If they do, then you can't afford the car. Live within your means. Please save yourself from the heartache. The original creator responded, I paid $5,700 for an extended warranty. We could go back to the issues with that. Mercedes trying to wiggle their way out of actually having to pay for it, even with you buying a warranty, and still got hit with more issues. So I mean, I get it. These things shouldn't be breaking down for the price that you're paying, but another comment, if you cry about maintenance, it's time to get a Toyota or something. Lease luxury cars, do not own them. That's the only advice that makes the most sense. I mean, I get it if, again, you're ultra wealthy and you could go in and out of these leases every few years and drive around in a new S-Class or a GLS or whatever, most likely you wouldn't have to deal with too much maintenance along with repair costs. But again, you're just renting the car every few years, so it's going to still cost a massive amount of money. Honda, Toyota, Lexus, never BMW or Mercedes, traded in, lesson learned. I mean, we have another similar situation here with an Audi.
My Audi failed me. She broke down on the side of the road the other day, and it's really, really sad because that was my dream car. Unfortunately, this Audi gave me so much trouble, even for being a new car, and I think I'm just traumatized. I'm like, take it back. I need something different. I want something that's going to be reliable, but I also don't want like a basic ass car. I loved the Audi. I loved how I felt driving it. And so yeah, if you have a mid to full size SUV that you love and that you feel like has been reliable for you, please let me know what it is because we are going car shopping this weekend.
The marketing for these vehicles is absolutely top tier. She is so consumed by the thought of how other people perceive her when she's driving around in her Audi and how it makes her feel that she doesn't realize that this is exactly how they get you. Driving around in a new Grand Wagoneer or an Escalade or the Audi Q7, the GLS, the X7, all of these 6-figure SUVs now all end up having tons of problems. They're manufactured terribly, but people are still buying it because they want the external validation. I mean, she basically just admitted it in that clip. Doesn't want any basic cars. Just amazing. Another comment from you guys, people laugh at older cars, but they still have a key and are still running without all the BS electronics.
So Dara, you're saying you'd buy this if we did $40,000 off? Maybe we can talk about it. Why do you want $40,000 off? I just showed you the Dolby Atmos on it. Look at the sleek design on this. It's beautiful. You just lease it. That's all you got to do. I can probably get you pretty close to that. But let's talk if you're interested.
So if you don't know what that is, that's the brand new EV version of a G-Wagon. It's also a horrible flop. Nobody wants them. They're incredibly expensive, barely any range, even when you're talking about a customer base who is very wealthy. These G-Wagons are what, $200,000 each? When you're purchasing vehicles at that point, most likely money isn't that much of an issue anymore. But still, nobody wants them. So right off the bat, the salesman is considering $40,000 off just to try to get that vehicle off the lot. What does that tell you about the margins with these cars? It must be insane if you could chop off, what, 20-25% of the MSRP like that? I do think it's funny though, when you look at the comment section, people are not falling for it. I'll pick one up used for $80,000 in a year. Nobody's buying the electric G-Wagons. Even Mercedes admitted they're a failure. Not a failure, just a lack of underperformance in sales, but not customer satisfaction. Well, I'm pretty sure manufacturers' jobs is to sell the vehicle, so if they're not selling, then I would think it's a failure. But we'll keep going with the dealerships, the advertisements, how they'll try to get more customers, and all the different tactics that go in it. I mean, I had an example right here that popped up on my For You page that is a Hyundai ad.
Did you know Hyundai has a veteran employment transition program?
Yeah, it's my job.
I partner with Hyundai to help showcase how they support veterans right here in Savannah, Georgia. Behind me, you can see the stamping process occurring. This place is cleaner than my house.
So we're just going to cut off there. It's another TikToker with a sponsorship from Hyundai. But again, the comment sections, we're not having it. Hyundai sucks. They don't supply parts or engine for known vehicles that blow rods through the engine blocks. Their motors have issues and they won't resolve them for me. Do not buy one. If only they had a car that worked. Hyundai, the cars that break down immediately after 60,000 mile powertrain warranty. Huh. Very weird coincidence on how that happens, but we'll transition right into a Hyundai dealership clip.
What's this?
So basically there was only one right answer on all of those clips, and you could just see overall that the dealerships and the salesmen do not care about you. They want you to trade in the car, roll that negative equity into an Ioniq, which would just put you into even more negative equity, but would give them a nice commission check at the end of the day, and that's all they really care about. And you could roll this into any one of the manufacturer dealerships. Another one of the trends that I see pretty often, especially when it's a non-luxury brand.
So check this out. If I was covering this emblem, what would you call this vehicle here? What would you say it is? Seems pretty obvious, right? It would be a BMW. But is it? It's not.
I knew it was a Volkswagen, recognized that horrible infotainment system instantly. Not even close to a BMW. 50,000 miles and the check engine light comes on. Nobody would have thought that was a BMW. I mean, it's just another way to try to persuade people into the Volkswagen brand, making it look like it's some sort of luxury car. But the other point that I thought was made is that almost everything looks the exact same. It seems like every new car has the same diamond stitched leather interior and the same looking infotainment screens. They are all similar now. And people are finding more and more issues when it comes to this new tech.
There's 3 automotive trends that need to go away, and this Volvo EX30 has all of them. The first one's right here. There are 4 windows like a traditional car in this EX30, but there's only 2 window switches. So to toggle between the front and the rear, I have to first hit the rear switch, and then I can lower the rear windows. The second, there's no gauges in front of me, so everything is handled by a single screen. Your parking settings, your speedometer, even your turn signals pop up on the center screen. And that just takes away your attention from the road to be looking at this screen. And number 3 is this fixed glass roof. This is beautiful, lets in a lot of light, but there's no shutters or shade in here. And to add insult to injury, Volvo will sell you a $200 covering that matches the interior that you can install in here and stow away when you don't need it. I know I said 3, but here's a bonus one. Lack of physical controls everywhere. In this one, there's no volume dial, and there's even no buttons for your glove box. Open that up, I have to go here and hit this button, And there you go.
So imagine the first clip with the shortage and the smoking coming from the screen on the Kia. If that happened with this Volvo, you'd be screwed. You could barely use it. This car is such a shame for Volvo. They used to be the leader in safety, and then they produced this. Shameful for any manufacturer, but especially Volvo, who cared about safety. We have another comment here. Someone else said it, but it was a huge mistake to try to turn these cars into four-wheeled computers. I think this is a perfect example we could look at real quick.
For any of you guys who've never taken off the seat back of a Wagoneer, here's your front right seat back. Looking like I'm about to do some open heart surgery. I mean, just... yeah.
Imagine the forums in 30 years when all those lines dry rot. The new Lexus GX 550s have a TSB for the pass side front seat massagers not working. So I commonly have to take those seat backs off. It looks like something straight out of Terminator Gore spin-off. Car repair is basically just IT now. Over-engineered plastic garbage is why I'm refusing to buy any car manufactured past 2012. And I know that's the answer for so many people. Get a Honda, get a Toyota that's older, which I do agree with overall, but there will be a certain period of time where that's just not viable anymore. And I mean, buying a modern Honda or a Toyota would be the substitute, but it's really just not the same. We have a clip up on screen of a Honda product that, if you actually go to work on, has a bunch of GM parts. So that's why new Hondas are failing, so it lost its reliability. Thank God they stopped making these Prologues, so that's what it was, a Honda Prologue with other manufacturers' parts, and had a bunch of problems. And another similar clip here, POV, your brand new car breaks down 2 hours into your road trip in the middle of nowhere. And if you take a look, it's one of the brand new Toyota Land Cruisers. This would disappoint me so bad, buying a Toyota and it breaking down. Toyotas have been messy lately. I thought Toyota was supposed to be the most reliable brand. I mean, again, overall they would have less problems than a lot of other manufacturers today, but it definitely doesn't make them bulletproof like they were before.
Hey everyone, we're back again with another super high mile. Look at that. 513,000. That beats my last one of 490. Can you believe it? And check it out. Would you guess? It's a Toyota. It's a Tacoma manual.
And as you could see by the wheel, it is clearly an older model, not a fancy diamond stitch leather wheel, just something that works and made it to a 500,000 miles. That's when Toyotas were built to last. And my 2005 Toyota Sequoia with 550,000 miles still in great condition. The new ones will never see it. 2006 Silverado Duramax, 782,000 miles towing a 3-car wedge loaded daily. Again, an older car. 2006 Tacoma, 510,000 miles. There were a lot of comments like that. Very similar, also one from you. My old 1987 Acura Integra finally called it quits at 645,000 miles. Got it at 200,000 miles for $300. So we're going to end this clip with a little bit of de-influencing. We've heard it a couple times before. I got my dream car and it wasn't what I hoped. I think the term dream car has really lost a lot of its value overall. Many people's apparent dream cars are just the new shiny thing that would impress a lot of people, primarily something luxury, and a few years later when the facelift model comes out, that becomes their dream car, and the cycle keeps continuing. But we could take a look at an example from this guy.
I bought my dream car and now I'm getting rid of it. Here she is. It's a Mercedes-AMG GT53. Why are you getting rid of it, Nick? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, reason number one, it's not as exciting as it once was or as I thought it was going to be. When I first got it, very exciting. Loved driving it. People would tell me how nice it was. That was cool. Never had a car that anyone ever said, that's a nice car. That felt nice. But then it faded away. That feeling of excitement faded away. And it's a good thing. I realized that no thing outside of me will ever make me happy, ever. Now, it makes you wonder, if I am not excited about the car anymore, it's been less than a year, keep in mind, why did I really buy it? Was it because I wanted it so bad and I love the car so much? Or did I just want other people to know that I can buy it?
So I would say for a majority of the cases that we saw, that is the exact reason why it was purchased. External validation is something that so many people crave right now. And unfortunately, people are suffering the consequences because of these poorly built vehicles. And at the end of the day, people are still purchasing. So the companies and manufacturers aren't learning any lessons. They just keep pumping out new models. Nothing's going to change unless people finally stop buying. But from the clips that I see 24/7 on social media, it really doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon.
My 2025 Mazda CX-90 has has been in the service department for the past 2 weeks, and when I called to get an update today, they told me it could be there for the next 5 months. So let's just hop into it really quick. 5 months ago, I bought a Mazda CX-90 with everything included, and it was a hybrid plug-in model. 2 days into having the car, I had to bring it back to them because it was not charging. 4 months in, I had to bring it back because it was leaking fluid. And most recently, I had to bring it in at 5 months and it's needing a new transmission. They're telling me that my transmission is on back order until the end of April, which would definitely classify this car as a lemon. They gave me a non-comparable vehicle as a loaner. And anytime that I reach out to anyone from corporate or certain parts of the dealership, I am ignored or given no answers.
So we'll head right over to the comment section because the Mazda PR team was trying to put out this fire as fast as possible. Hey Alyssa, we're so sorry you're dealing with this. Please know we're following up with our team about your situation and have shared this video with them. But the situation didn't get much better because she replied, thanks, because they called me yesterday and were not helpful at all again. But we'll go through some more comments as a junkyard near my house. So many CX-9 and CX-90s. Another comment that I thought was odd almost sounded like PR. I understand your frustration. This is an issue Mazda is working to fix. Unfortunately, the parts are hard to find. I recommend trading in with a different dealership. Is this guy getting paid to comment this? It just sounds like very odd corporate talk. But the creator replies again, how could I trade in a vehicle that's sitting in a service department unable to drive? Very good point. Mazda needs to buy this vehicle back. It's their responsibility. It's a brand new car, 2025. I knew as soon as she said hybrid. Yeah, the Mazda plugins suck. The gas models are just fine, but the plugins are not good at all. Because I've talked about people liking the Mazda CX-5 at being pretty well priced, at least in comparison to CR-Vs or RAV4s, and they're pretty reliable, but the plug-in hybrids are a different story. There's a lot of examples like this on social media, people talking about their CX-90 plugins just having a whole host of issues, but we could go over and check out some more examples.
You know all those videos of people that get brand new cars and then a couple weeks later they have to get them towed away? Well, that's my life right now.
New girl died on me last night. We're waiting for the tow truck to come pick her up. At least I still have my trusty old girl over here, Silver Fox. She's always done good to me.
Tell me a car manufacturer has an engine problem without telling me that a car manufacturer has an engine problem. I'll go first. These are all engines in these crates, but wait, there's more. We're coming around to it. Oh, here's some more. Stack 3 high. Let's go, but is that it? Nope, not even close. Look at all these. Look at all these. These are all engines that are bad, that have been replaced, waiting to go back. But can you guess what manufacturer it is?
So somebody screenshotted one of the boxes in the video and it seems to be a Hyundai problem, but just a sea of new engines. Oh man, gotta be Kia or Hyundai. Nobody's seeing this thinking anything other than Hyundai or Kia. But the clip before that was a Nissan Rogue, motor blown with a little over 20,000 miles on it. That's it. Hope they cover it on warranty. Nissan are bad cars. And then going back to the first one with the Chevy, if we're calling Jeep our trusty vehicle, I think we need to do some research on our transportation better. Chevy's being so unreliable. That's why I went to a Toyota Grand Highlander after lots of research. Keep that in mind. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But like we've seen before on this channel, there are so many different examples of this. Here's an Escalade going up on a truck, getting towed away. Not surprising with these types of vehicles, the Escalade, the Suburban, the Yukon, all have the same engine and then the same problems. It doesn't matter if you spent upwards of almost $180,000 for one of these Escalades. That's what we've seen before. A very interesting comment from this clip as well. 2025 Infiniti QX80 is the way to go for real. I don't know about that one. It still is a Nissan product. Same thing happened to me, traded in right after, never buying it again. It happened with my 2021 Tahoe and then 2024 Escalade. It took 2 separate times for you to realize that you maybe shouldn't buy these again, but it doesn't really matter in the eyes of the manufacturer. If you're still buying, they're still going to advance, putting even more tech and needlessly solving problems that didn't exist in the first place, just making everything needlessly complicated for no reason other than the illusion of progress.
On today's episode of Automakers Pointlessly Reinventing Things, drive modes. In this new BMW, they don't call it drive modes, they call it my modes. And if that wasn't enough, some of the names are kind of silly, efficient, expressive, relax, digital art, silent. And yes, what you're seeing is correct. You have to press a button and then press the infotainment system to change the drive mode. And you have to do that every single time you want to change the drive mode. This is just idiotic. We should go back to keep it simple, stupid.
But what I've started to realize is that I think these manufacturers are doing it on purpose. They're putting in needlessly complicated tech and electronics, then also giving you bad advice for the longevity of the vehicle. You don't have to do oil changes every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, do 7,500, 10,000, 15,000. But they're saying this so their vehicles break down sooner, and then you go and buy from them again, lining their pockets with even more profit compared to having one vehicle for 10, 15 years. We're seeing a lot of these cars break down within 5.
If you bought a new car these days, I'm telling you it's insane. The manufacturers are recommending 7,500 to 10,000 miles on an oil change. Why are they doing it? Because they don't care if that vehicle lasts you 300,000 miles. You could do an oil change every 7,500 to 10,000 miles all you want, but don't expect your car to be in great shape down the road. I see so many people take a vehicle that's paid off because they don't maintain it well, and once it's paid off, then they start having repairs, and then they're like, oh, I don't want this, so they go buy another vehicle, and they just cost themselves so much money.
And you could see by some of these comments how they've changed the thought process of some of these customers. Just getting in and out of new vehicles constantly, rolling in the negative equity, or just having a car payment for the rest of your life. Very few people will keep their car for 300,000 miles. So by replacing the oil more often than recommended, all you're doing is spending money for the next guy. I replace my vehicles at about 80,000 miles and treat it like a rental. And then these would be the same people complaining that they'd never get ahead. They're living paycheck to paycheck. The cost of living in life is so difficult. But you're openly commenting saying that you don't maintain your car well, and you just trade it in every few years to get the shiny new model. Have fun with an $800 to $1,000+ monthly payment for the rest of your life. I have a Kia Soul every 35 miles, full synthetic, and it still eats oil. Probably because it's a Kia Soul though. Every 5,000 miles for us, 5,000 miles or before full synthetic. I don't care what an engineer says or my owner's manual. 3 months or 3,000 miles. Don't care if somebody says it's wasting oil or money, because I bet that's what a lot of the arguments are. Oil changes can be expensive. Let's just say it's $100 a pop now. You'll still spend way less money compared to getting a brand new car. But we have a comment from one of you guys. They're not selling cars. They're selling you loans, insurance, subscriptions, and all sorts of financial products. They legitimately don't want to see examples like this anymore because they won't make as much money.
This truck right here, you guys, never ceases to amaze me. This is 5.7 V8 2010 Tundra. Underneath, I'm doing an oil change. That's all this thing ever comes in for is maintenance. I think I put a water pump on it and this radiator like 3.5 years ago at 315,000 miles. It's got 353,000 miles on it. Virtually no oil leaks. Cam towers are starting to leak a little bit if you know anything about these 5.7s. But you go underneath, everything's dry, nothing's loose. It's, what is Toyota doing? You know where the state of their Tundras is right now. And it's like, why did you get rid of this engine? Why? 353,000 miles.
Why? Because people don't replace what isn't broken. Sales went down. They started making bad products and people replaced those products more frequently. Sales went up. And to add on to it with the comment from you guys before, the subscription model.
Toyota is now charging monthly for stuff that used to come with the car, like navigation, remote start, voice assist, all the connected services. You get a free trial, then boom, $15 to $25 a month if you still want your Dash Jack Smart. Skip it, and your $60K SUV suddenly forgets how to find Texas Roadhouse. It's basically leasing your own car's brain.
And again, I know I'm going to say this over and over again, but that's happening with every manufacturer now. They're all realizing they could squeeze a little bit more money out of each customer. So the remote start is now a subscription. Heated seats, massaging seats, all features that were advertised with higher trim models, you now have to pay monthly just to be able to use them. And when it comes to Toyota, even though they are still more reliable than most, that does not mean that they're still not having issues with their new vehicles.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
So this is one of the brand new Tacomas with a new engine, and it looks like it's shot. We've already talked about the Tundras as well. They've had full engine recalls, a lot of issues, and that was the same situation. They changed the engine that was working for so long. The Tundras had a V8, the Tacomas had a V6, and now we're seeing examples like this pop up all the time. Toyota's starting to look like every other brand out there. It's sad. Nissan is better than Toyota. I still would not say that. Don't buy a Toyota. The quality is no longer available for this truck, and that's part of the reason why the previous gen Tacoma and 4Runners are keeping their value incredibly well. Both had the tried and true V6 engine that was very reliable, and the newer models have 4 cylinders that are having problems like this. But going back to an earlier comment of somebody getting one of these Grand Highlanders, we have an example right here.
My 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander Platinum is a lemon and Toyota is ghosting me. We countered and now radio silence. After being at the dealer for over a month, Toyota couldn't figure out what was wrong with my car and replaced the entire engine at 27,000 miles. We submitted a claim to Toyota and they offered to buy it back, but that offer was a lowball. It would have put us in the hole $10,000. We came back with a counter and since then, radio silence.
Toyota is not as reliable as they used to be. Ford wouldn't return my phone calls. Getting a lawyer was the best thing I did. 2024 was the first year the Grand Highlander came out. Never buy the brand new build type. They don't have the kinks worked out. Wait a year or two. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening with everybody who bought the brand new 4Runners. They're kind of the guinea pigs. I knew we time shifted when you couldn't trust Toyotas anymore a few years ago. Another one talking about the engines Toyota lost. The V6 was awesome. Never gonna buy a 4-cylinder. You may need to get a lawyer. Toyota is very difficult when you're pursuing lemon law with them. There was a ton of different examples online talking about the Tundras failing for Toyota to finally take a look at it and then issue a recall. It is just such a pain now. But let's go over to the brand new luxury vehicles, the future of tech, and what we're eventually going to see in every car.
Completely new Porsche interior with the new Cayenne here with a so-called flow screen, a curved screen. You can see it right here when I scroll around in the map here, for example. It's also visible when I, for example, go to a Spotify playlist. Then you can check it out here, how it flows from the bottom to the top. Very interesting. Tell me in the comments what you think about this solution.
Why exactly do we need a curved screen? You don't. New screens and no buttons again. Then there were a ton of comments like this. This is peak Porsche interior. I'm so sick of every car incorporating mass screens. This is perfect for me, just showing the older interiors. People wanted physical buttons, so Porsche introduced a curved screen. You really can't make this kind of stuff up. My face the whole time with somebody just annoyed, and then a comment that I do see pretty often talking about the luxury market. Everyone's complaining as if any of us are going to buy the 2026 Porsche Cayenne. However, even with this being a luxury brand, very expensive Cayenne, these sort of features start trickling into every other manufacturer. Toyota, Ford, GM, Stellantis are all going to start copying these to make their interior look nice and fancy like the luxury brands Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, to try to entice more people to buy. So you're going to see these ugly curved screens on the new RAV4 for no reason. But some people do get angry critiquing these brands, just calling you poor.
You look stupid when you tell people that their car is not reliable. You can't afford to fix this. That does not mean it's unreliable. That means that you cannot afford to fix it when it breaks. If you're looking for a supercar that's reliable, none of them are reliable. They all are expensive to fix. It just makes you look ignorant. Stop it.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just poor. You can't afford it. Reliability has nothing to do with cost of repairs. McLarens are one of the least reliable supercar makers. Another one with an image that just says no correlation. And then he's replying to almost every one of these comments. Have you ever owned one? What supercar do you have? So I guess if you didn't make the poor financial choice like he did buying a McLaren, you're not allowed to talk about the terrible reliability. I'm trying to think of a car channel that I watched a while ago that was just a huge saga with how terrible specifically McLarens are made. That's what it was. JM on Cars. He talked about his own experiences with the vehicle along with some of his friends, how terrible the craftsmanship was and the reliability was awful. But I guess you are screaming into the void with some of these examples like the last guy. Their whole identity is materialism and having items that other people don't have. But we'll move on, still talking about the luxury market and some of the costs for maintenance and repair.
$3,500. That's how much I just spent on tires for my car. $3,500. Are you kidding me? I found out a few months ago I needed new tires because I had like no tread left on my tires, and I was like, I just got this car in November. How do I need new tires? It's like, well, it's like a really heavy car. A really heavy car that needs tires every 6 months? Are you kidding me?
But we could head over to the comments so we get some more context. You have a BMW XM and you complain about $3,500 tires. I feel like that should have been researched before you bought this. It is a very heavy SUV, very expensive as well. It's BMW's flagship model, supposed to compete with the G-Wagon. Not really doing that great of a job, honestly, but this is the cost of ownership driving around in one of these fancy new cars. Another clip on screen just talking about BMWs, my seemingly perfect BMW X3 that cost me $22,500 to repair in under 2 years. This is no joke. But we'll go over and take a look at a $70,000 Audi interior.
The most frustrating thing about this Audi Q6 is over here. They have this little panel of capacitive buttons to do everything. But what kills me the most is not this panel, as dumb as I think it is. It is this door handle piece, because there is a blank switch here, which on the passenger side is a lock-unlock button. But because on the driver's side, the lock-unlock is down here, you get a blank panel. How? This is everything that's wrong with car design. You get this thing that nobody wanted, and as a result of that, every single one of these has this blank switch. There's no option that fills this in. They couldn't have bothered to just make a different piece to go here so that you wouldn't have to look at this. But every single one of these cars, they're like 70 grand, and you get this blank, scratchy piece of plastic.
It looks so ridiculously cheap. Capacitive buttons should be banned. No way this is a German car, total crap. But you can't really win on the other side of the argument. You know, I'm not going to get a luxury car wildly overpriced. I'm going to get something bare bones, an economy vehicle, and still the prices are wild.
What in the actual Ford? I sell these things for a living. And this is a 2025 F-150. It's an XL two-wheel drive, like work truck, like basic work truck. It doesn't get any more basic than this one. Look at this. $39,345. How the f am I supposed to sell these things, Ford? 40 grand for a base model two-wheel drive truck? Like, you're making it hard on me.
So that is the absolute bottom line when it comes to full-size work trucks now. Two-wheel drive, single cab, nothing special, and it's still $40,000. But it gets way worse than this.
Yeah, we're here at the Central Florida Auto Show with the guys. Buddy, let me tell you, I'm looking at these prices, and if y'all not shopping with us, I don't know what you guys are doing. They want 71 grand for this brand new Grand Cherokee. But bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's like a $45,000 car, maybe, if that.
$70,000 for a Jeep now, too. And we have another comment from you guys here. It's only a matter of time until they run ads on your 3-screen dashboard. If you do remember a few months ago, they were trying to put ads into Jeep models. Whenever you'd be stopped at a stoplight, your iPad would light up with advertisements trying to get you to buy more crap. It did get a whole bunch of press and really heavy pushback, so it did end up going away, but I wouldn't doubt that we'd see something like that in the future. But talking about those giant dashboard screens, if anything goes wrong and it breaks and you're not under warranty, these things are ridiculously expensive.
This fancy screen right here is $3,000. The reason this lady wants to replace it is because her kid scratched it all up right here. This is how the whole screen comes out. It's basically like a mini TV. Like I said, it's about $3,000 just for this screen alone. And on top of that, we have to also program it. You can't just swap it over. Here we are trying to program this thing for a cluster replacement. And basically what this does is move the odometer settings onto the new screen.
So the rest of the clip is just him showing what he has to do to fix everything. But the screen being $3,000 alone, that does not include labor, is going to be a pretty penny if any of these things go wrong. But at the very end, he was talking about the odometer and what he had to do to switch it over. That brings in another potential problem in the future. When all the information about the car is just on those screens, it could be tampered with a lot easier than you think, and you could get scammed.
The mileage blocker epidemic has gotten so out of hand that people are now rolling back not just supercars, but your everyday sedan. This G80 M3 just got busted in a wholesale car group on Facebook for having only 98 miles. The seller was trying to get about 95 grand out of it, and people became very suspicious when the photos were taken in different locations. On top of the fact that many people in the comments were saying that this guy is a known scammer, I think this is a closed case. This case specifically kind of blows my mind because this car is pretty much brand new. How many miles could you have possibly put on it in that time? Even with 5,000 to 10,000 miles, what is it worth? Like $5,000 less? You're willing to risk a felony for 5 grand? I mean, it quote unquote makes sense on cars like a Huracan or an Urus or, you know, an Aventador where they're running out the mileage like 40,000. But the risk here just doesn't seem worth the reward. Like if you're going to do this, at least put 500 miles. Don't put 98.
Now, even with how stupid that example was, if it really starts becoming this easy, why wouldn't people do it on Honda Civics or Corollas? Just normal everyday cars start rolling back the odometer, make it look like it's in a lot better shape than it actually is. I don't know, I'm just worried that this could happen a lot more in the future, but we'll just move on to the next clip.
You know what? If the industry wants 50-year house loans and 15-year car loans and 5-year cell phone loans, then I think we need a law that says that every manufacturer is responsible for that product working and lasting 100% for the entire length of the finance period. If you finance your house for 50 years, everything in that house has to work for 50 years, appliances included, and that means the builder is responsible for the cost. If it doesn't work, their problem, they have to fix it. They get no recourse, no option out. Cell phones are financed for 5 years. That cell phone has to function at 100% for the whole 5 years. If it doesn't work, if it's a manufacturer defect, if it breaks, they have to replace it. Their cost, no recourse out of it. And then cars. If you have to finance a car for 15 years, then the manufacturer of that car has to replace everything on it for the first 15 years. I'm talking bumper to bumper coverage. Everything in that some gun has to be covered, because if we're financing things for 15 years, they should have to work for the entire length of the finance period.
And of course, I agree with this. They should work, but this would never happen. These companies would actually have to make good products that'll last long. They would all just implode. I mean, we've talked about new construction builds all the time on this channel, just the worst quality. Same thing, of course, with the car market, even phones. Magically, after a few years, if you don't upgrade your phone, the newest iOS update just starts draining your battery faster, or it's laggy. Maybe some of the apps don't work anymore. Oh, I guess you have to buy the newest one. That happens time and time again and drains your wallet. We have another comment from you guys here. 60 years ago, they thought we'd have flying cars. Flash forward 60 years later, we wish we had our 60-year-old cars back. I mean, a great example of that is this next clip. More modern cars trying to fix things that didn't need fixing.
It's funny to me, as cars get newer and the technology gets newer, I think they're actually going to get worse. This Mach-E does not have a door handle. This is a door handle, right? You pull on it, the door opens. This has a push button. Door opens. I have one problem with that. It snowed a little bit last night. Probably 1 or 2 inches. So my avalanche is here outside, right? So the Mach-E would have a push button somewhere around here. You're going to have to find the push button, right? Instead of just pulling the door open, right? Wow, that actually worked. So the push button would be somewhere around there.
They're changing things that don't need to be changed for reasons completely unknown. I personally think it's the illusion of progress. Look, we did this new thing on the 2025 model, and then on the 2026 one, we changed this and that, even though nothing was wrong in the first place. But because of the constant upgrades, there's just more problems that come along with it. Now, I know that there's a good amount of people out there that are not really into cars, and I completely understand that. I'm not saying everybody's got to be a car person. So hopefully that's what these videos help you guys out for, because we have a screenshot right here. I have to get a new car. Please give me pros and cons of each. And the first one she was looking at is a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And the next one was a Hyundai Santa Fe. So as you could see with the creator turning off comments, you could probably guess the reaction to this. There's a good amount of people that just look at the exterior or the interior. They like the way that it looks. They don't really look too much into the brand, the manufacturer, and they sign on the dotted line, getting into 5 or 6 figures worth of debt, not knowing there's going to be a whole host of problems after that. I mean, a great example of that right now, very popular vehicle, is the Yukon Denali.
Everybody seems to want the Yukon Denali, but would you pay $99,907 for one? This is a 2025 GMC Yukon Denali XO. It has a starting price of $84,200, but then it has all of these add-ons, which come out to $10,620 added, plus the $2,595 destination fee. But this dealership also adds even more upgrades, which brings the total price to $99,907.
Overpriced junk. It's funny how so many people say it's overpriced, yet someone is always buying them. And that goes perfectly with a comment from you guys. The problem I see is that people are stupid enough to keep buying these vehicles, don't buy them, and the manufacturers might get a hint. $100,000 for a pickup truck or one of these big SUVs, when as we saw earlier, they have a ton of problems just sitting on the flatbeds getting towed all over the place. Another big example of an SUV that is very popular and has had problems, I mean, for years now, but people still buy, are the Range Rovers.
This message is for Range Rover and Range Rover only. Less than a year ago, I bought this vehicle, okay, this 2025 Range Rover Autobiography. Within the past year, less than year, I have taken this car to the dealership for the same exact issue 4 times. Issue being, while I'm driving, okay, the vehicle literally will stop driving while I'm driving. It doesn't matter where I'm at. It has happened to me on the expressway twice. It has happened to me when I've been driving on the street. That is extremely dangerous because someone could literally run into the back of me and I lose my life.
They are unfortunately known for having severe issues for years. I haven't heard anything good about Range Rovers. Range Rover is a lease car only, don't buy. Now the only thing that's going in their favor is the looks. It is a good looking SUV, and because of that, people still purchase. I mean, there's another one up on screen. There's basically an unlimited amount of clips like this of Range Rovers breaking down on social media. It's really nothing new like we saw in the comments. This has been happening for years, but people will still end up purchasing. And again, these are six-figure SUVs. They are very expensive. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you start seeing clips like this with very cheap deals, especially in the modern day with the car prices, it's something you should probably stay away from.
New Telluride lease special, it's $267 a month.
You can't lease a Telluride for $267.
What do you mean, man? $39.99 down, you're $267 all day.
$267?
$267.
Come on, man. In all seriousness, folks, just come down to Map Black Key in Toms River and lease a Telluride for $267.
Taxes, fees, dock, license, wheels, and engine not included. The lease does not include towing or roadside assistance, which you'll absolutely need because it's a Kia. But specifically with the Telluride, the previous body style was very popular during COVID. A lot of people liked the way it looked, purchased it, and had a ton of problems. And now the brand new one that's coming out is kind of a Range Rover clone. That I bet will rope in even more people because, oh, it looks pretty, it looks like a Range Rover, but it's not $120,000. I'm just gonna buy this Kia instead and have these same issues down the road. But to finish off this video, it's a little bit of a tangent. I'm just seeing this still on TikTok Shop. I don't know how this is legal, but it does come into play with the modern technology and the screens everywhere. It just seems unbelievably dangerous to me.
Instead of putting your phone here, or here, or here, or here to watch a show, just grab one of these adapters and plug it into your UPS port. Give it a second to load up, and just like that, you have Netflix, YT, wireless CarPlay, and Android Audio right inside your car. After you connect the Wi-Fi or hotspot, click on Netflix, and now you can watch all your favorite movies and shows right inside your car. So let's watch some TWD, let it load up, connects right to your speakers, and no, there's no audio delay at all, and yes, it does work when you're driving. You can also watch anything on YT, just click on a video, let it load up, and now you can watch your favorite YTer. It also comes with wireless CarPlay with no delay at all, and you can even listen to music.
Why are we watching TV while we're driving? To pass time, better than texting and driving. Saving this video for the class action lawsuit. I know that this user is rage baiting people just to get more sales because there's an affiliate link and he'll get a kickback. I truly just don't know how this is allowed to be sold on TikTok. This seems extremely dangerous, but the more that I look up car videos, these sponsored posts are all over my feed as well. So just something to look out for. Maybe if you get into an accident, there could be a possibility that somebody is watching Netflix on their screen.
Update number 7 on my car issues. If you're new here, I'm going to go over it really quickly, but I bought a brand new car at the end of November and it has been back and forth at the dealership being towed there because it keeps breaking down since either December or January.
My car broke down, my new car, and
What was it?
2021 Nissan Kicks.
Nissans. Okay. How did it break down?
Transmission completely cooked.
We recently bought a new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and within 6 weeks of owning it, we had our first major mechanical breakdown. After leaving the car in Arizona for 3 weeks to get repaired while we traveled all the way to Florida, we finally got her back, or so we thought.
It's really starting to feel like it doesn't matter what the manufacturer is, everything is just terrible. Some of the comments here, not even just Chevy, every new vehicle is unreliable, old cars and trucks are just better. A very interesting comment here, watching this from the comfort of my Ram 1500. Oh, you're next for sure, those aren't any better, bro. Definitely casting stones in a glass house there, but we could really go on and on. When you get a new car, because you're scared your 15-year-old car will break down, but now your new car breaks down on day 5 instead. POV, you bought the Tahoe that everyone told you not to. Of course. I wouldn't buy really anything new these days. Toyota Sequoia, I'm going to get the Toyota Sequoia instead. We're going to see that a little bit later in the video. And then right after that, yesterday I saw a Toyota Tundra getting towed out of a national park. A Toyota wouldn't have saved you. Well, if it's the new Tundras, they do have some problems. And I just feel like so many people don't actually know what they're getting into before they sign their name and start making payments on a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 plus vehicle. So hopefully these types of videos help and inform you a bit more, because even with the next clip being a funny little skit, this happens to a lot of people now.
Do not buy this car. This car will give you so many problems, cost you way too much money. It's ruined my life, man.
You're in a Chevy Cruze, you're actually cooked. Then if you ask on Reddit, they'll do everything but answer your question. Someone told me Hondas last forever. Mine blew up a year after driving it. It definitely depends on what Honda you get, even though the reliability is supposed to be way better than most of the manufacturers you see driving around, but we could take a look at some of the worst new cars.
These are the worst new cars you can buy in 2025. Up first is the Lexus RZ. Toyotathon fans, hold your horses. Hear me out. There's no reason to buy one. The range sucks. The price is mid. Resale value is horrible. It looks like a computer mouse. Toyota hasn't figured out the EV marketplace yet, so I'll just skip. This next one's for all you millennial stay-at-home TikTok moms. Chevy Suburban, Chevy Tahoe, GMC Yukon, Yukon XL, any GM SUV with the 5.3. I see more often than not people buying these things, and at 6,000 miles, they have a blown motor. Up next is the Jeep Grand Cherokee. These things are expensive, they're unreliable, they're riddled with electrical issues, they're underpowered, and if you get the 4XE hybrid, you've got some power, but then you have more electrical issues. My last entry for this part is the Honda Prologue. I use air quotations because the Honda Prologue is a rebadged Chevy EV. It says Honda on it, but it's not a Honda. And I've already seen some of these things start having random issues in typical General Motors fashion.
I do remember looking at a clip a while ago on the channel with a mechanic taking a look at one of these Prologues, and there were tons of parts under the hood that had the GM stamp on it. It's not actually a Honda. I don't know why they would want to put the Honda name on a car that's less reliable than most of the cars that they actually put out. Just very odd to me. Maybe they had to have some sort of rules with EVs. I know California is very odd. With selling in that state, you need to have a certain amount of EVs, bunch of rules. But we have a comment from one of you guys. Having an older car is now the new luxury in reliability. And I'm not surprised. People would pay good money to not have issues with their cars day to day, especially if they're paying a ton of money for new vehicles now. And most of the time when you start looking at them, they are complete junk.
Within the first 10 seconds, already hating that. There's no shade cover whatsoever. The Audi e-tronic. This is currently for sale for $68,000. That is kind of a gap though. But the opening feels, oh, there's a delay on that. You gotta open it first. No soft closed doors. I'm paying 70 grand for a used Audi and there's no soft closed doors. This feels like an aftermarket integration. What is this? This feels like it belongs in a Mitsubishi. What the frick, Audi? Could Audi be a little more innovative than this? I'm not sure how I feel about these opened envelope vents. I'm sure there's a better way to do that. How many leaves are gonna get stuck down there? That's not a hatch. I guess for the life of me, thought that whole thing was gonna go up, and I even saw that there. Why is this not a hatch?
What is, dude, are you kidding me? Okay, so I don't know exactly what trim level he was looking at. It was the Audi e-tron GT, but I'm looking at a listing of the RS e-tron GT Performance that the MSRP is $168,000 for that car. And you're gonna get the materials that you saw in that interior for that price? Are you kidding me? I actually don't know what to say. I'm speechless on that one. I did not think they were actually that much money. Another comment from you guys: making a car into a tablet with tires is expensive and dangerous. Pay attention to the road. And with everything just becoming more and more integrated with electronics, as the quality is going down year by year, when I start seeing clips like this, I think of all the future problems this is going to have. Doing my usual walkarounds for a video and notice that the start engine button is gone. This is on a brand new EV Hummer. The 2026 models don't even have a start button anymore. So we'll go over to the comments. How does it even start? You shift it into drive and it automatically starts for you. You just have to sit and shift. So that means your car keys are in your pocket. It senses that and just automatically turns on. You don't think a GM product like that in the future is going to have several issues? And then you're not going to be able to to start the car at all. So we went from having a key and putting it into the ignition being too much work, I just need a start button, to now pressing that button just being way too much. It just needs to start automatically. I can't imagine what that repair bill is going to be down the road. Here's another clip up on screen. Getting a Mazda CX-5 before their god-awful 2026 remodel is like catching the last flight out of Nam. Because I've talked about this vehicle a couple times on this channel, it's pretty popular right now for the price point, but now it sounds like they're doing a refresh and people are not happy about it. You mean the new 2026 Mazda RAV4? The Teslaification of every car has got to stop. Almost 50,000 likes on that comment alone. Why do car makers keep thinking we only want screens? I need my buttons in my car. I hate having to control everything on a screen. But keep in mind the comment with the Teslaification of everything with this next clip looking at the new CX-5.
Okay, I know I'm not the only one thinking this, but the new Mazda CX-5, this interior that Mazda spelled across that large screen looks a lot like this to me. It looks a lot like the Lexus ES. I'm just going to say it. The Lexus spelled out and the screen looks almost identical. When then obviously I'm not going to call it Mazda without not calling out Lexus. Lexus ES new screen is basically just a Tesla screen.
So this is the future of the manufacturers. They all end up looking the same. The Mazda looks like a Model 3. The Lexus looks like it as well, which means in turn the Toyotas are going to start looking like it. I just don't get it. It really just looks like a lack of passion and they just have to keep making new models and facelifts, keeping everything new, right? All in the hope that they'll slightly increase their sales volume every year. We have a comment from one of you guys, electrical engineer here who works in research and development. The largest problem with new product designs is that the fact that you need to make things as fast and as cheap as possible, and that comes with the consequences of poor life cycles and poor quality. At the end of the day, companies don't truly care about quality, they just care about shareholder value. I think a pretty good example of this is the new 2026 Toyota RAV4 with the new body style that, I'm going to be honest, I think looks awful.
Let's check out the brand new redesigned 2026 Toyota RAV4 XSE. Here is your first look at the 2026 Toyota RAV4 XSE. And here is the back end. This is Toyota's best-selling vehicle. It's a 5-passenger. We've got a 12.9-inch display there and a big 12.3-inch display with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto.
So again, the interior looks exactly like the Model 3. The front of the vehicle to me looks like a Fisker Ocean, and then the back of it just looks like a Nissan Rogue. Am I the only one who's seeing that? Some of the comments, what kind of grille is that? It doesn't look complete and looks cheap. Toyota needs to hire better designers for their interior. They all look old and outdated and the car isn't even out yet. The interior looks so cheap, oh no, that's horrible, all in the name to keep pushing out more and more new products. Another comment from you guys, cars should never have to do software updates. Well, I don't know if you've heard about this in the news recently with all the subscription models to be able to unlock features in the car that you should already have in the first place when purchasing your trim levels. But now recently Volkswagen is in some hot water. What do you mean Volkswagen came out with a car that requires a subscription to reach full speed? I'm sorry, I'll be driving my 2016 Jetta until I'm in the grave at this point, because that's exactly what happened. So most of the time when we're talking about subscriptions, we've heard about it with remote starting, maybe massage seats, Wi-Fi in the car, things like that, right? But now this is the first step to limiting the motor until you give the manufacturer more money every single month. And as I've said every time I've gone over this problem, when one manufacturer does it, eventually more are to follow, and this will just become the norm. They'd charge us to breathe if they could. Honestly, they would. I looked into it, and when I first heard about it, it cost $22.50 a month just for an extra 20 horsepower. Not worth it. Guarantee they sell the info of who has a subscription to insurance companies, driving up the prices even more, while also making Volkswagen more money because they get to sell your data. The constant need to advance and try to make things better or cooler looking is only making it worse, in my opinion.
All these electric door handles are so BS. I own, personally, a white Mercedes-Benz station wagon of some variety. E450 all-terrain. So right now I have the press car of the new one. And I let my wife drive it because she drives the one we have. And I said, hey, you should check this out while we have it. I mean, I have no plans to replace the car anytime soon. It's got 30,000 miles. But when we do replace it, it will be with the new station wagon. The new one has these electronic door handles.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's annoying doesn't even begin to describe it. You walk up to the car and they've closed. Right. How do you open them? Well, you tap the door handle, except that locks the doors.
Oh.
Okay. So what now? You push the door handle, nothing. Push it again, nothing. Then you like, okay, you take the key out of your pocket like it's 2016, and then you press the button and then the door handle pops out. And it's like, this is worse. My wife literally said to me, I would not buy this car solely because of the door handles.
Man.
All to make it just look a little bit cooler, right? But of course, there's issues with it, and you're going to have to pull out your keys anyway. I also remember seeing a clip of somebody with a Mustang Mach-E that didn't have door handles either. They had a button that was kind of on the window, and he showed an example of where he lived. It snowed, and you couldn't see the button at all to try to get into the car. I don't know. I really just don't know what to say. Things that nobody wants: electric door handles and HVAC controls buried in touchscreen menus. Subaru solved a flush door handle problem decades ago, fixing a problem that didn't exist. Perfect statement there. I didn't see a problem at all. Another comment from you guys: the first car company that goes back to the basics will make a fortune. You would think so, right? So many people are tired of what's coming out, but it only seems to be going in the same direction. And now each one of these SUVs from the manufacturer almost look identical, all while simultaneously having ridiculous MSRPs.
Let's see what these new Escalades here for. I'm over here at this Chevy dealership. I want to see what they talking about. That thing is clean. How much? What's the price on there, cuz? What? What? My God.
Who's paying $200,000 for an Escalade that within just a couple years will be worth, what, $70,000, $60,000? It really does seem like it's an internal game to see how high they could jack up the prices. Another one of the examples is what was supposed to be a very cheap pickup truck, the Ford Maverick.
Do these Mavericks ever sell, or do these dealerships just becoming a museum at this point? They had to put all new inspection stickers on these things. Ooh, yep, $38,000 on this thing. It's so hard to sell a $20,000 truck for $40,000. Ooh, this one at least has leather. I'm gonna bet this one is a $39,000 MSRP. Oh, spot on, baby. I'm getting good at these prices on these Mavericks. My gosh.
This was supposed to be the everyday affordable working man's truck, right? They were supposed to be sold in the 20,000s, and now we're seeing 40, which I don't know if you've seen any of these on the road. They are pretty small, of course, in comparison to something like an F-150, but even a Tacoma is significantly larger. Some of the comments, they're too expensive. I remember Ford said that they'd cost $20,000 or something around there. $40,000 is insane, but this next clip has to be bait. Either way is just ridiculous.
Why hasn't this truck sold? I have it priced right under $90,000. It is a 2025 single cab dually sitting on JTX Ford's wheels, and it is a high output. Tell me why it hasn't sold. Is it the color? Is it the wheels? Let me know.
Number 1, $90,000. Number 2, single cab. Number 3, in my opinion, it's red. And number 4, it's 90 grand. I would like to add on top of it, those wheels are heinous because it's $45,000 too high. I found a 2026 350 single cab dually for $54,000. So I guess because it's not in a generic color like white and it has those terrible wheels on it, they expect to get almost 6 figures. And this is just what these dealerships do. They want you to spend the most amount of money, the highest car payments. The clip up on screen right now is almost identical to something that we've seen previously, paying a $1,400 car payment because I deserve JBL speakers, a sunroof, and 14-inch touchscreen. And this is one of the Toyota Sequoias that range in price anywhere from about $65,000 to $85,000. And if you take a look at the account, sales associate at Toyota San Antonio. This is a car salesman trying to get you to pay almost $1,500. I mean, it would be even more after insurance for this Sequoia. Because I deserve, Caleb Hammer would have a field day auditing you. We all deserve for that vehicle to not be $90,000. And I have heard good things about the Sequoia. I don't mind the way it looks either, but trying to justify or normalize that ridiculous car payment with still just a Toyota at the end of the day is just too much for me. But I guess I'm in the minority when it comes to thinking that way.
America's auto loan crisis is exploding, and it's not just subprime borrowers that are feeling the pain. Right now, U.S. auto loan debt has hit a record $1.66 trillion, with some delinquency, default, and repossession figures looking similar to what we saw back in 2008. A new report from the Consumer Federation of America warns that the system is, quote, at a breaking point, and they're criticizing regulators for not doing enough to fix it. Monthly automotive payments have spiked, averaging $745 a month, with 1 in 5 buyers shelling out $1,000 or more every month.
And every time I make one of these videos, I do have to say, if you could genuinely afford these types of vehicles, I don't care if it's a sports car, a big SUV, or a giant pickup truck that's very expensive, go out and buy whatever you want, even if it's super unreliable. If you have the money to pay for it in cash, along with all the maintenance, that's completely fine. But if you're shelling out $1,000 a month like 1 in 5 people are, you most likely shouldn't have gotten that vehicle in the first place. And now we have a perfect example of somebody who deserved to have a nice luxury SUV and is absolutely drowning with the payments.
I made a mistake. They convinced me at the dealership. You know how they are with the sales tactics. I've never gone through this situation, and now I'm like super stuck and I don't know what to do.
All right, so you got a 2025 Lincoln Aviator you made a mistake buying or leasing. Tell me what you got.
It's a Lincoln Aviator 2025, 3,000 miles, really good conditions. I can't keep paying it off because the monthly payments are $1,200, and I'm super stuck with it. Since it's a lease, I still have like 47 months to go. I can't keep up. I'm super stressed out.
And the buyout for the lease is what? Do you know what that is?
$69,996.
How's your credit?
It's really bad. Like 495.
How did you get a lease with a 495 credit score?
It's not under my name. That's the other thing I was going to tell you now.
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like you're stuck. I thought you had good credit and you had some money down. Do you have any money down to get out of this lease?
No.
I know you're a mother and it's getting expensive. How much is insurance on the car?
It's like around $300.
Your sister co-signed on it, so there's a situation where you don't want to put her credit in a bad situation.
$1,500 a month with insurance for a Lincoln Aviator, and you absolutely had to have it, even though basically immediately you couldn't afford it, while also now dragging down your sister because they co-signed. What kind of decision making is that? She didn't know how much she could afford before she bought it? In the back of her mind, she still knew, but she still wanted it. How does anyone end up at the Lincoln dealership? To be honest, it's very rare that I see Lincolns on the road right now. I guess you could say the same thing about Cadillac as well. I just don't see them driving around too much. This is how generational wealth is not obtained. Dealerships can't make you buy it. They could be pushy and annoying, but it's on you to know if you can't afford a $70,000 car. I agree with that. I have my problems with the salesmen in dealerships, but they're not forcing you to sign your name on the dotted line. You can walk out when you realize that you can't afford what they're trying to sell you. But let's just take a look at how much you should be making just to buy the average car price.
Here's how much you would have to make to afford an average car. Rounding this up to $50,000 for the car, saying you put a 20% down payment with a 7% interest rate. That would make your monthly payment $957 per month. You never want your car payment to be more than 10% of your take-home pay, meaning your take-home pay would need to be $9,570 a month. Using an Illinois zip code, you would need to make $170,000 a year in order to afford the average car.
170, and even if we drop it down to $40,000 cars now, which is much more common in today's world, you're still probably talking what, $130,000, $120,000 a year? How many people are actually making that kind of money? Not too many, but you still see brand new vehicles on the road 24/7.
More than 1.4 million Honda and Acura vehicles are currently being investigated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration due to reports of engine failure. According to the NHTSA's Office of Defects Investigation, they've received more than 400 reports of connecting rod bearing failures in the 3.5-liter V6 engines used in 2018 to 2020 Acura TLX, 2016 to 2020 Acura MDX, 2016 to 2020 Honda Pilots, 2018 to 2020 Honda Odysseys, and finally 2017 to 2019 Honda Ridgelines. Now, this current investigation seems to have already gathered enough evidence to suggest that this connecting rod bearing issue is not caused by the same crankshaft manufacturing defect that was previously addressed by this recall back in November of 2023, where 248,999 Honda and Acura vehicles were recalled and affected engines or components were replaced.
So this is something completely separate, and we'll have another round of recalls. This is Honda, right? Supposed to be one of the solid manufacturers when it comes to quality and reliability, and I even have one, I've told you guys. Luckily, my Civic is a bit older than this generation and anything that's brand new that's come out, because they've also had a fair share of recalls as well. But this comment really does sum it up nicely. What happens happened to us? We used to be a proper country with cars that lasted 300,000 plus. That's basically unheard of unless you have an older vehicle right now. The next picture I thought was really funny. It's a painting of Vin Diesel holding a Toyota V6, one of their most reliable engines that is currently being swapped out for hybrids. A lot of people are pretty shaky on that. Rod bearing failure, that's a GM thing. Get your own recall. So GM has problems with that as well. But speaking of those brand new Toyota engines, along with the crazy high MSRP with their new lineups, it's not surprising when I start seeing examples like this.
My theory of the day is that the new 25 4Runner is a sales failure. The reason I'm saying that, my dealer will not stop sending me listings about new 4Runners they're getting on their lots. And sure enough, you start Googling articles, seeing what's happening, and yeah, sales are down, and it might be part of the plan, but I don't think it's this much part of the plan. And my theory is that it goes back to what Toyota is doing with the engines in their light duty trucks. I took this picture the other day of a brand new Tundra with a guy that threw on a V8 badge. For those that don't know, these things come with a twin turbocharged 6-cylinder, and that the old Tundra came with a V8. And this theory goes back to just Toyota is putting too small of motors into their trucks and SUVs than what their consumers actually feel comfortable buying.
Along with a comment from this clip, prices went up and quality went down. People are still buying the previous gen Tacomas, the Tundras, and 4Runners. I've seen countless dealers on TikTok advertising these over and over. I've told you guys that I've gotten ads as well, with a Toyota dealership near me getting one of the brand new TRD Pros that was $72,000, I believe. Who's going to be paying that much money for a 4Runner? And I'm a 4Runner fan. I like the previous body style compared to the brand new ones, but still, $70,000, there's no chance. It's the prices. My 4Runner SR5 Premium was $37,500 out the door 5 years ago, and now the top trim level is double that price. But we'll finish off this video with another one of the clips that's definitely bait from the dealerships, but still overall just pretty funny to watch.
Is this Jeep Wrangler worth $88,000? I'm gonna go over everything that causes this Jeep Wrangler to have that high of an MSRP, and let's see what you think. So this is a 2025 Jeep Wrangler Sahara with the one-touch top on it, but what makes this one special is that it has the Black Widow upfit package on it, and it has all these options, which comes out to a $26,000 upgrade to get this Black Widow package on here.
So he goes in depth with all the upgrades that bring it to almost $90,000, and I don't have to tell you that it's not worth it at all. I do think it's also funny with the Wrangler community, a lot of people like to modify them themselves, so you could probably get every upgrade that's on this particular Wrangler for way less if you just do it yourself. Along with the fact that it still is a Stellantis vehicle and the depreciation is going to be brutal, you're basically just throwing your money into a fire. But we have a comment from one of you guys. It's not just cars and houses, it's products in general. Everything is deteriorating. These people need to get the idea of a dream car out of their heads and stop worrying about how I feel driving this car. Companies know you have a childish relationship with consumerism, and they're setting you up as a cash cow with these trash vehicles. So hopefully this video did a bit of de-influencing for you if you were looking for a new vehicle. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.